Good morning. And you know what? We're going to go backwards. I forgot the intro. There we go. And now we can bring up the new overlay. Electro King overlay, of course. We are going to bring the other creators in here in just a second. At the moment, we have got Beast and Plato. Apocalypse is not yet on voice. He probably needs some sleep after his fighting in the 2489-1960 KVK. But if he joins us, we will definitely include him and we'll rock and roll, right? So let's get her going and let's bring in Beast and Plato. Make sure that I'm okay. I should not have an echo. All right, here we go. We're bringing them in now. Hey, boys. So here we are. Did Apocalypse join while I was muted there? Did not. Okay. All right. So we will try and bring the boom boom energy for Apocalypse today. Good morning, Alpha, Mr. Weedy, New Jack City, Ibori, Mad Mania. How's it going, guys? So can you guys hear Plato and Beast? You guys want to say something? Talk a little bit? Cannot hear them. Okay, that's just fabulous. Maybe if I do this, try now.
Hello, test.
You guys should hear him now. I see it on the mixer.
Test. Nope. Yeah, these technical issues, I love it.
I haven't heard anyone but you so far. Okay, guess what?
Maybe you are...
Nope, guess what? We're going back to the regular Rise of Kingdoms overlay. We're not going to do this one. Obviously, I have not set up the audio correctly. So say something now, guys. Beast, Plato.
Wait.
Hello.
Okay, now they say they hear you.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay, yes, I did not have. I have a hardware mixer that separates out all the different applications and the sounds coming from the applications, and I had the audience muted on chat, which is assigned to the Discord program. So I just had to unmute on my Beacon mixer. So, all right. I think we're good to go. Thanks, guys, for bearing with us. But hey, while we were fucking around with the settings, we got 6 more viewers. So let's rock and roll. Let's jump right into it. I think before we kick off with the agenda, Beast recently put out a video. He gets a lot of questions with the recent unfortunate loss in his KVK. He's been getting a lot of questions. You know, we know he's an R5 and an alliance in Call of Dragons. Sorry, I just naturally Call of Pixies flows out of my mouth. You know, so we just want to touch base with him. I know he's got a video out there too. You guys should go watch that. You can click in his name in the video title to go right to his channel. But Beast, are you migrating? Are you quitting? What's going on?
So no, I will not quitting Rise of Kingdoms. I don't know why people thinking I'm gonna quit because I lost the KVK or I do other content. I never said something about that. I always said in the previous streams back that also when I'm gonna start a new game, I will not stop Rise of Kingdoms because Rise of Kingdoms is family. You know, people are there, which I really know from the beginning of the game. We have a podcast, so no, I will not quitting. If I'm gonna migrate or not, it's like probably kinda confirmed, not to 100%. I talked with Lazy, and it was not possible to get more people from 38 into 1875 because they had hit van at some point Imperium again. So I'm probably gonna be on the next migration. Maybe we will see how the things were going. But for the next KVK, I'm gonna stay in 38. I'm gonna play there.
Nice.
Yeah, I think you said in your video you had several billion resources that you wanted to go through before you could migrate.
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah.
all right,
I want
outstanding.
to. Well, I just have gave away 4 billion resources in total before I joined 38. So I don't know whether again like 3.5 billion. That I will probably not giving away. But
That takes forever. It's not the giving away of the resources. You can always farm those back. It's just the time to
No, yeah,
transfer all those resources. Good. I mean, that's why I transfer resources from 10 farms at least every other week. So I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. All right. Well, let's jump right into it. We'll start with Plato. Plato, your thoughts so far on the 254, 1365, 846 KVK?
Yeah, it's been a very interesting KVK. I'd say out of all the KVKs, it's probably the most action-packed so far, from the 3 big ones that we have. We got 1254 kind of like fighting 1365 in 2 different zones, and it's been really interesting, especially as someone that's played the Orleans KVK previously, how both sides decided to go both ways instead of like giving up one side, full focusing another. And from at this point, I think everyone will make it into KL or Orleans or whatever. So that's going to be a very interesting fight. I definitely don't know because like what happened last and during my KVK is our opponents were actually like they weren't like going full throttle before Kingsland opened. So I'm wondering if that's kind of what's happening here, because it's way more advantageous, especially when you are defending. It's way more advantageous to defend, especially when you have farm accounts, because you could just fill and kind of drain troops and deads with farm accounts compared to main accounts. And it's hard to fill with farm accounts when you're rallying something, because you could just pop out of a city and get destroyed, right? So in my opinion, I think like people always ask me on stream who's gonna win, who's gonna win. I don't think we could know until Orleans opens, which is gonna be this week. But I'm definitely really impressed with 1234, especially with, you know, like the rumors about SW HMB migrating out, and then well, not rumors, they confirmed. Chisco confirmed it. And then how like there was a lot of their player base leaving, and then SW only had, I don't know, like 80 players going into KVK. They've been doing a really good job, but I don't know if 1365 is going through full throttle, or because I haven't been really watching that KVK as much. But whenever I'm watching, it's maybe it's just my time zone, but it looks like 1254, at least for the west zone. They're doing really well, and they're burning things. And then on the east zone with 1846 and 1365, it seems a little bit more even. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see Orleans and how that works out. And then it's really interesting because 1254 seems to be like working really, really well, and it's kind of a shame that they're disbanding as the way they are. So I'm kind of curious to see what's going to happen moving forward, and if the KVK will have any merit towards them migrating out or not. So we'll see.
Beast?
it's a very interesting KVK. I love to see 1254 finally fighting. And I love to see how crazy they are right now. Actually, I said when I streamed it that if they are gonna be able to get all 4 passes, KVK is over already, right? I don't know what, like, overall from the KVK format. Actually, I would say it's kind of shit that it's from north to south. It would have been better for the more interesting side, also for this KVK, because Kingsland is something different, right? And I mean, who would have not want to see 1254, 1365 Kingsland if that's gonna be over in that zone already? I hope not. But
It's not 100%. There's going to be a Kingsland. There's no way for them. It's going to be this week, actually. Like the Kingsland's about to open.
yeah.
Thursday.
Okay, then not. Yeah. But
Yeah.
you get what I mean, right? If
I-
that would be have, but overall, I really love to see that KVK. I think we need to give shout out to 1365. Also, they're holding very good against 1254 here, and also actually 1846. I didn't know them that well before. I saw them somewhere from Osiris League, I think, but I never saw them fighting. And they fighting pretty good against 1254 in the East Zone, and I really love to see that. But I think the biggest shout out we need to give to 1254 because they have split themselves. Also, when they completely stacked in resources and speed ups and all that stuff, but it's still half of 1254 playing against full 1365 and half of 1254 fighting against 1846 here, right? So it's still, it's also when 1254 is, it's still tough for them, but somehow they still manage to burn more stuff. That's what I have saw when I have streamed it. It's crazy, man. It's just overall probably the craziest KVK what's going on right now, and I'm very curious about what the Kingsland gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, 1254 got off to a slow start. I think that was mainly because 302 couldn't get through the level 5 pass that they were touching initially. It took them like 10 minutes to get through there, and 846 did a fantastic job swarming down all the marches that were going to take that pass. You know, so it delayed 302 from getting into that zone. Now 302 did get into that zone and establish a beachhead in the upper left-hand corner, and they're now fighting with 254 against 365 and 846. 302 took out a couple 365 forts that were by this level 6 pass over here. You know, so they're all putting in work in this zone, right? But it is, and that kind of, I think that kind of slowed the progress. It threw a little monkey wrench in the territory plans, and I'm just assuming here. I don't have any inside information, right? But for 2 days after that, 254, everything 254 touched was on fire. Everything. Now 365 did some pushing back yesterday, but let's take into consideration yesterday was what? Kill event, right? So you've got everybody and their brother out there fighting to get Dito heads, you know. So this morning it's kind of been a little bit of back and forth. 365 was able to successfully sneak a fort kind of behind enemy lines, so to speak, right here, this OG fort. You know, they got this built. There was some heavy pressure in the final 10 minutes, but they managed to get it built, and that's in between Poot, which I think is 254, right? And STND.
Crazy.
So yeah, that was absolutely insane. They snuck that in, and you know, credit to them yesterday. I think a lot of what they did yesterday was probing to find out, okay, when is the 254 downtime? Because they dropped this fort at the exact time yesterday that they were having success. You know, so yeah, they I mean, this is a great fight. It's going to continue to be a great fight into Kingsland. It looks like everybody's each going to have a pass in there. It looks like 302 is coming in on this right side. 254 is coming in on the top left side. And 365 will probably come in from the bottom here. My guess anyway.
Yeah.
And
It's
then
pretty interesting because all three camps are gonna have to share two passes.
Yep.
It'll be really interesting to see how that works for sure.
Yep, that'll be great. I'm sure there are jump spots in here, but this
there are, but
Kingsland is small.
Yeah, Kingsland is really small, and I actually really like to counter Beast's point. I actually really like that there's fighting before Kingsland, like, because it's a really fast KVK though. So, like, because if you see the past sevens actually connect the two zone sixes before the past sixes do, which is Kingsland, and that makes it what happens is that means the first time that you could actually interact or like see the other side of things if you're not in the middle is during Kingsland. But in my opinion, like it really makes it exciting because there's so much on the line in zone sixes, and I feel like that's kind of what's missing in in Strife is that most of the Strifes you see, it's gonna be a past 6 type of like fort building simulator until Kingsland, but then this one's like super action packed right away. And then if you lose, then one of your allies, at least in this ally scenario, is gonna get locked. So
So you just got done with the New Orleans KVK, right, Plato?
yeah.
How much did this river that runs straight through the middle of Kingsland from east to west, west to east, how much did that have to factor in territory planning?
The thing about it was the way our zones worked out was our allies won the west zone and then we lost the east zone. So then there's an east versus west scenario. So the river didn't really play a part at all because our allies were in the north of the river and we were in the south of the river, and then practically that's how we divided up the territory.
Okay.
But in this case, yeah, you're gonna want to make sure that you have some form of territory across the river as fast as possible. And I think that's why if you check on that's why they're fighting so hard right now, because there's so many jump spots. There's a lot of jump spots that you could flag jump from with a fort, allowing you to be closer to that river. You know what I mean? So that's why they're fighting super hard, even though they're probably not going to make it to that pass. But the more ground that you make outside of that KL actually means a lot, because that means you're going to be disallowing them from jumping closer to your pass. Because if you check the top right pass, there's but like that wall is really thin, and there's a couple spots if they had territory that 1365 can just build a flag and then 2 flags, boom, you're already at the pass. You know what I mean? So I think it's a really interesting KVK because usually like it's pass or nothing, but for this there's actually a lot of merit for pushing down and making sure that they can't get these port spots, these jump spots. Like that MG fort, for example, could probably get a flag over there if it were to stay. So I think it'll be pretty interesting for sure.
Wow, outstanding. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Anyone in chat have any questions on this KVK thus far? I know some opinions were being shared. Alpha says if 254 and allies win this, it's because of 302.
302 did a really good job in that zone 5 for sure.
Yeah.
They did a really good job. But yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what happens, because this is kind of a revenge KVK for 1254.
I don't have enough fingers and toes to count how many forts were frickin' dropped in all of these zones. Yeah, right? Good God.
Galore in this KVK for sure.
Good God. I mean, that just shows that these big kingdoms need to have control over every single one of the alliances in their kingdom, because at some point in a KVK like this, you're going to need it. So if you got some rogue farming alliance in your kingdom, go and get R5 from them, right?
Exactly.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's one of those scenarios where it's like, I remember we had like a native alliance or whatever, and they're like, yeah, like we just want to play the game or whatever. But then if you have territory, you're using you need to contribute to the kingdom somehow. You know what I mean? So like at least put down one for a KVK type of vibe. So.
Yep. Yeah. And I think John's spot on here. He's saying teamwork will decide Kingsland, not power. Power does come into play when you got Yoda, who's he's 1 billion now, 1.2 billion, dropped 500 million.
I'm really proud of Yoda, because a lot of people were calling him a farmer before this KVK started. And he's literally every single time I view the KVK, I just see him solo storming a flag. So he's definitely using his power. Like you see like the billion power players, it's hard to be a billion power and keep a billion power unless you're not killing troops, and people just kind of assume that of Justin, but Justin's been doing a great job for sure.
Yeah, he's all over. You see him solo swarming flags, solo swarming cities. He's all over the fucking place.
Like an 85 mil city with a Zenobia. Like, that's crazy.
All right, so moving on to the 2489 1960 KVK. We'll kick this one off with Beast.
I barely watched that stream. I watched more 1254, but from what I saw there, was pretty interesting. 89 was having definitely probably at most of a point more marches on the field, what I have saw. I mean, it's kind of hard to see from the spectator mode, right? But I mean, we're talking about 960. They at some point, I don't know, they just destroyed and push them now back. How I see it, that's really crazy. It was for sure very good fight there at the short point there between the mountains. I have loved to see that because like everything was with the fighting was on a same spot, like it was not separated, so you could see over time who have more players online or who have like a better open field control over the marches, the micromanagement, all that stuff. And in this sort of fighting where you have like only one front line and no different front lines where you can just TP around and start killing somewhere else territory, it comes really down to micromanagement and who have a overall better open field control and more people online. And it was looking actually kind of even most of the time from what I saw. But I guess at some point 960 is 960, right? I don't know, 1250, 24, 89 it's still new big Imperium Kingdom. There are probably players in who never fought in a big Imperium Kingdom like this. So I'm pretty sure 2489 can be or is already a tough enemy for 960, but I think there's still there is still something missing. What I'm feeling. I think it's like the stacked account what 960 have with like everything expertise, everything like over equipment done, and I think that is kind of missing in 2489. Maybe it's hard to say. I mean, they're new in the what are they about now? Top 4, I guess, in the game. So maybe they need to sort out some things, some players, some strategies, and yeah. But it was definitely a very good fight there at that choke point between the mountains, and I have loved to see that. And I'm very, very curious about what the fight gonna be in the future in that KVK. If 2489 have now already like a strategy against 960, or was that just fighting to get out the resource beat ups from them, because they probably they have more players overall and 960 less, so 960 need to use more if they want to win that zone. That are just like some thoughts from my side. But it was definitely a good fight, or is still a good fight. I mean, we're still fighting.
Yeah, so a lot of the fighting in this KVK in the first 24, 36 hours took place on the same 2 or 3 tiles. Overnight, and it's 9 a.m. here, so over my nighttime, it looks like 960 has done a ton of work pushing down into this lower half of the zone, burning and building quite a few flags. So I don't know if 2489 just decided, okay, it's time for a strategic retreat. Let's pull back a little bit. Let's lick our wounds. We've got a path into the next zone. Let's just start there, because I think the difference that you mentioned, I think between 2489 and 1960, 2489's got a lot of spenders in it. 1960's got a lot of spenders in it. I think the 1960 spenders are more willing to. Well, I'm not sponsored, so I'll just say it, are more willing to buy resources than the 2049 players are. I'm sure there are 2049 players that buy resources from resource sellers, but you're not gonna drain 1960 of resources. You're not gonna drain 1960 of speed ups, and even if you do, they probably all got tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of gems to gem heal if they absolutely had to, right? Whereas I think 2049 probably has players that are in that, right on the border of that mid to high spending type player. Whereas all the 1960s players are what I would consider high spenders. But this is shaping up to be a good KVK. It's a battle of 2 kingdoms that were kind of built similarly. I think 2049, as you said, has got a ways to go yet before they can meet a kingdom like 1960 head on and sustain for more than a few days. And don't get me wrong, they've done an absolutely fantastic job thus far, and it has been an absolute pleasure to watch both of these kingdoms fight. And I hope there's more. I'm pretty sure there will be more. Arvix versus Arvix. This is a legendary KVK, no matter what happens from here on out. Lotto?
Yeah, it's definitely a very interesting KVK, especially since apparently what I was told from chat is that the Warriors Unbound game mode only allows for 2 Imperiums to be in the KVK, which I think what happened was these two like Warriors Unbound KVKs, like the Imperiums want to fight each other, but the map just doesn't support that. So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, like these two are like from what I understand, the two kingdoms are very close. They're like, they were going to ally against 1307 and 1093, and then yeah, I think this is gonna be really good for 2489. One that it's like very few kingdoms could even stand up against 60 GT. Like or like 1960. Like especially since they migrated in a whole nother alliance. Their last migration was crazy. We're reversing in Call of Dragons. Like one of the top spenders in Call of Dragons is actually one of the top spenders in the Chinese server, and they actually just got an account in 60 GT, like their group. So they got Chinese server whales that went into the global servers. So like they're fighting like the top of the top. For pound, there's no one better than 1960. Like player for player. So the fact that they're able to fight like that is really impressive, and I think it really shows like it's really promising for them. The biggest thing that I think is going to benefit them is that they're definitely going to be able to, because this is the first time they got tested. Literally, their last KVK in their zone 6, they were literally free building forts behind the enemy fort line without any resistance, like literally nothing on the field. So it's going to be really interesting to see them like trim down and then be really selective with their migration, and then from there, like I know Arvix really respects 1960 and kind of wants to build the same thing, and then we'll see if they're going to be able to do that, right? So a really good KVK from them for sure.
I mean, I think we're kind of seeing the future Rise of Kingdoms here. Kingdoms with 2 alliances in them that fight. That's why Smash Squad and HMB are leaving 254 to build a kingdom much like these 2 kingdoms. With the recent changes to the game, the Autric rewards, the potential limiting of numbers of players that can go into a KVK map, these 2 kingdoms are going to be at the top tier when those changes take place. Not a lot of other kingdoms are structured like this. So, yeah. It will be interesting to see where both of these kingdoms go in the future. Absolutely. We did have a question in chat. I'm going to jump to it here, and I cannot answer it. Knight is saying, what are your thoughts on Olympia now? He thinks it's hella boring now because unranked is just bullying new players, and rank without random players to rage on is boring.
I haven't played the new Olympia yet. I mean,
Same.
so yeah, we'll have. I want to try it. We'll see if my friends actually want to make a team. I think it's a really interesting thing that they did with it. I think it's a positive change, honestly, because I didn't play Olympia unless it was with people regardless. So that was the fun of it for me. And then if unranked is playing against noobs, then you just get points for free. And so I feel like if you could get those gold heads easier, then it's better. And that's all that matters.
Yeah, my streak is still alive. I have not played a single Champions of Olympia match ever, and I will continue to maintain that streak.
There was also in the chat from Oni family. He said 960 just have more pilots probably also. Well,
That's probably
I
true.
think everyone knows that like the top spenders like sharing accounts because there's no way there can be 24/7 fighting for days without sharing the account. There's no way, and everyone knows that, and also Lilith knows that. So they might having probably more pilots on their accounts. We don't know. We can just guess that, but I think that's also a point. What makes the difference probably? Why 960 have like constantly around, I don't know, 100 people probably constantly online. Probably more.
So
but yeah.
that kind of segues into another question before we get to the 307-1093 KVK. Do you guys share your accounts?
No.
No.
Okay, me neither.
I feel like sharing accounts for kingdoms, that's why 1960 does it a lot. Like, it's not really like you have to be like a whale type of thing, for it to be really, I guess, impactful. So like I know a lot of kingdoms, if you're a garrison leader or rally lead, you share your account because you want those garrisons and rallies to be available at all times, right? 1960, everyone could be a garrison and rally lead, so like they share their accounts and then they're boom. But yeah, I personally don't because I like to see that everything on my account is something that I've done. You know what I mean? It's more so like
yeah.
it's like a kind of a pride thing. It's like more so like a stat tracking thing too. Like it's just like, and the thing is that I play a lot, so I don't know when during fighting they would be able to play, except for like my 6 hours of sleep that I get.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest here. Nobody's ever played on my account. There are two individuals that can access my account. Both Cat and MF can access my account if the emergency arises. I have given them specific instructions though. The only time I want them on my account, playing on my account, is if they cannot reach me. I don't care what time of day it is. I don't care what time of night it is. If you need me there, call me and I will be there. Now, if I'm lying dead under a bus or I'm laid up in the hospital and you need to play on my account, you can do so. But at the same time, like you said, every single kill point that I've gotten on here, every single dead, every single resource gathered is by my own grinding, by my own playing 8 to 16 hours a day for 4 years, right? So, but yeah, I mean, 100% with you, Plato. I mean, and Beast, if you're sharing your account with somebody, you better be prepared to wake up in the morning with no resources, with no speed ups, no gems, yeah. Right?
I have friends, they like they would share their account, or like they would pilot. Wait, give me a sec.
Yeah, so once to figure out. I feel like if you're sharing your account, you betray yourself. Like if you think about that, if you compare that with your real life, what you're doing. So let's say you're doing something in real life, what you do by your own, right? If you, I don't know, build a house by your own or something, you are more proud of yourself, right? You're like, oh my God, I did that by myself. Look what I did, and you share it with everyone. But let's say a company building a house, and you're like, oh yeah, cool, I have a house now. But you don't have a special feeling to that. You know you didn't build that hub. You just said, oh yeah, I wanted, I have some ideas like this and this. Can you do it? And when they're saying yes, we can do it, and when they doing that, and you're like, okay, cool. I have now a house, and cool. That's it. You have no special feeling to it, and that's what my feeling also to Rise of Kingdoms is. Because I know I log in and I see my account, and I did in 690 days almost 1.6 billion key points by my own, and I'm very proud of that. I know no one else has played that account anytime, and that will also not happen in the future. And if I would log in and see there from a night of sleeping, oh, I got just 1 billion key point because someone has played the account for me, I'm like, oh, cool. I have no better stats, but I know I did them by myself.
Sure.
I would feeling like I'd betray myself with that.
Sharing is caring, says Ibro in chat 007. I mean, I get why whales do it. I get why krakens do it, right? I mean, in order to have the kind of financial situation that many of those players are in, they are actually working their asses off, 10, 12, 16 hours a day, attending business meetings, flying all over the globe, doing what they do to make their money and support their family. So I get it. And I just close my eyes and I picture people playing on, say, Makote's account and, just going to the hospital and hitting gem heal. And that, I mean, for a player like me that spent $500,000 gem healing because he was out of speed ups, that just hurts to think about, right? So, I mean, it is what it is. It's where this game is at. Is it against terms of service? Probably. Does Lilith turn a blind eye? Absolutely, because they're making money off of it. Okay, so we're going to head into the next topic, which is 1307 1093. This, in my opinion, has been the best of the 3 KVKs to watch. I mean, you see two teams that fight very similarly. They try and take the field, then they rally the flag. Or, to defend a fort or whatever, they do the same thing. I think 1093 got off to a hot start here. They got the level 6 pass on the bottom. They built a fort right there. And then they must have taken their pass before 1307 took their pass, because 93 was able to block this other level 6 pass with forts. And 1307 couldn't build down there fast enough to burn those forts. So right now, 93 is in control of this zone, and it looks like they're pushing 307 hardcore. 307 has had their moments, during their uptime, and the 93 never has a downtime, but the 93 slow time where, they have made some progress, but as soon as 93 gets all their players on, it's a done deal. Yeah, I mean, that's that. And some of those fights have been, I've seen, yeah, but I've seen more rallies on flags, more rallies on forts, more back and forth with the field control than I have really, because 254 dominates for a while, then they go to sleep, then 365 dominates for a while, and 960 and 2489, it just kind of got boring for me because they were fighting on the same 2 squares of tile for almost a day and a half. So I've been watching this KVK in my off time, more so than the others, just because I'm seeing more rallies, and that's what I enjoy watching. But I'll kick it over to Beast next.
That KVK was also very interesting to watch. I mean, all 3 KVKs we have are very interesting to watch. I was kind of surprised that 1093 was able to beat up there at the pad from 1307, 3 forts. I was seeing that and I'm like, oh shit, what did happen here? Because 1307 is right now without the top 300 power governors cap, with the cap, they are top 2 in the whole game right now. So it was kind of surprising me that they was able to secure the level 6 pad, also when it probably didn't change anything. Since it looks like 1093 would have got the territory so, but I think that they was able to build their forts and build their territory from the kinda east behind side when 1307 was building down to match 1093 in the mid, right? That definitely have helped 1093 to secure faster the territory in the north side of the level 5 zone. But it's they have confused me how 1307 didn't secure that. Overall, it was also a very good KVK. There was some situations where you was not clearly can say who's gonna win. And when I have watched it, I have really enjoyed it, especially the the kind of a twice what both sides did with baiting flags, but when the other side answered that quickly, well, and at some point, 1307 just got demolished, and 1093 just completely pushed them back. But it was for sure a very good fight. I don't know if 1307 is still fighting. I don't have opened the game. Yeah, but I mean, nothing more to say probably to that.
Plato?
Yeah, I mean, I just started watching this KVK yesterday, so I don't really know exactly the extent of the, because when I was watching, 1093 was free burning, but you said it was back and forth, so um yeah, I mean, it's really interesting because 1093 just always proves that they're very, very organized, and that's like their bread and butter. Um, and yeah, I think that's kind of showing in this KVK. I don't know exactly what this map entails and how they'll move forward, but I definitely think 1093 is favored, and it's going to be really interesting to see what 1307 is going to do to respond. Um, that's pretty much all I have for this KVK.
You're just reading several comments in the chat. Alpha says 93 organization is superior to 307. 93 organization is superior to 99.99% of the kingdoms out there, right? I really,
Like, it's between them and 1960 in terms of organization, to be honest. Well, 1960 is like just pure power. I think
yeah.
in terms of strategy, 1093 is definitely like, I don't know if I can name like a
Better.
better KD.
Yeah.
It's 10. I mean, they definitely have a very good organization. It's no question, do they have the best organization in the game? I mean, they top 10 kingdom from power in the game. I just have sent a screenshot in Discord if you want to share it on stream. About the top 9 power kingdoms with cap and without cap. It's now just a question. I mean, we saw in the past, like the last couple of months, 1093 was, but they fought against 1365. You know, they was having also there a very good organization and strategy. It's not just a question, do they have actually the best in the game, or is there someone else to have a better strategy than them?
I mean, I'm becoming a fanboy of 1093, right? Just the organization that they have. They'll all ball up in one position. They'll move in, they'll take the field, they'll rally a flag, and then they'll fall back and refresh their troops, ball up, and do it all over again with another touching flag. Just the fact that they can get so many players to listen and follow instructions. They don't have players chasing easy kills. They don't have players necessarily, at least I haven't seen any, using the Attila Takedas to call heralds on the field. All of the players that they have seem to buy into the kingdom first, alliance first philosophy, and that's rare. So like here they go. They're all moving together, right? They're going to rally this fort now, I imagine, and go clear the field and rally the fort. So yeah, my hat's off to 1093. They've done this for years now. And I really hope that the changes Loth is making to the game don't ruin quality kingdoms such as this, where there's not a lot. There's a fair amount of high spenders, right? But most of the players in this kingdom are low spenders, free to play, and they just do it the right way.
Yeah, John said in the chat, with stat tracking, empowerment, and flawless, they have the first kingdom with guides and new commander leagues. They always double or triple rally, never single rally. They don't waste any troops. Yeah, like if you have constant in every KVK organization like theirs, GG.
Yeah, and now you want to go back and read another.
GG.
Yeah, and I want to go back and read another chat. Keo said in chat, 1307 doesn't know how to fight big KVKs. Just saying. I mean, they haven't had a big one since they fought 1960, and they fought 1052, and those were both losses. So there's some validity to that statement. It's been a while since they fought another super imperium that's well organized like 1093. So all right. Flato, anything to add there before we move on to the next topic?
Yeah. I mean, you've seen how my KD was going on in my KVK, so it's pretty envious with what you guys are talking about. Just player discipline is just super important, and I think a lot has to do with leadership and even the migration team, because just like being able to pinpoint players that are willing to listen and willing to, because every single time you migrate someone in, there's like it shifts the culture a little bit. Like you have to make sure it's a good culture fit for everybody. Like you guys do interviews in your kingdom. 1960 is very particular with the people that they migrate in. So I feel like that's moving forward, especially with these changes. If you want to migrate, expect to be in a voice call interview, because at least for the like the good KDs, because they're gonna want to make sure that they're migrating in the right people because of the changes, right? So
100%, 100%. So I would go and show our next topic, but I kind of want to stay here on the screen and watch this fort rally. But next topic is the fantastic new city skin, and I'm being positive here, right? You cannot sense any sarcasm in my voice. The fantastic new city skin that people will get in Osiris League, Epic City Skin, Siege Attack plus 5%.
Woo.
Everybody and their brother wants that. So
go.
Is that top 32, top 16? What is that?
I think that's top 32, right?
Guys, I mean, that's something what you want, right? Siege attack. Like, if you think about that, siege attack. Man.
Best stat on the best troop type.
Bro, it's like crazy. Everyone else gonna be feared if you see that skin and you see your siege marches. Holy shit, man! I gotta prepare for T5 sieges, man.
It's a pretty city skin, right? But why, Lilith? Why?
No. If we don't start with that city skin, we go back to the situation when we have introduced the tower and that they won't bring sieges as a fighting unit on the field. There we need to start asking why. Not with the city skin. The city skin is just a result of trying to make content for this type of siege, this type of unit, which is absolutely garbage for fighting. And we need to go back to that situation and asking there already why. Like, everything else was fine before. You know, literally no one have asked for fucking siege unit as a fighting march. No one have ever asked for freaking towers. No one. Literally no one. So I don't get that. Why do they have bring that in? And now they're making content like this bullshit. Like, if like top 32 Osiris League alliances getting a fucking epic skin with siege attack. Like, no one will gonna play that shit. For real.
So
What is that?
Yesterday when I was streaming 254 and 365, I saw the best implementation of archer towers that I have seen in this game to date. And I don't know if you're watching the stream, but there were players setting up archer towers on this little peninsula right here. And those archer towers were firing over the river to the mass balls that were fighting right here. So there were 4 or 5 archer towers here, just firing arrows and just absolutely fucking wrecking 365. So
Tempting me. As a Call of Dragons player, you know, we got those range
Call of
commanders
Dragons is
and
different.
shit.
That's different. You know,
Yeah,
that's
the
different.
setup, the tear down, the 10-second setup, 10-second tear down is the biggest part. But I already maxed my 5 March murder ball. Like, what am I gonna use gold heads on now? Like, when they're gonna...
No, I mean, just save them for new commanders. Like, they're pumping it out like shit. Like, we got two new archer commanders, and that cost you 600, 1,200, 1,380 gold heads. Like, now saving them up for us, you know?
You don't need to max both unless you're a garrison lead, I guess, though. Like, as
I just saying.
You only need one. Like, Lambo's gonna max both of them because he's Lambo. But for us normal folks, you don't have to max.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Liang is for sure a max, as you know, my video said. I told you guys. But yeah, I think.
But what about when Nevsky and Joan came out? Both are together is one of the best calf marches, and that costs you 1,300.
I don't know about you,
gold
Beast,
heads.
but my gold head count every single KVK can max 2 commanders. Like every single KVK can max. I get 1,000 gold heads between one KVK to another. Like that's 2 skips. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that'll be my niche. I'll be the range combat expert in YouTube.
Yeah, that was the absolute best use of archer towers that I saw yesterday. Putting some archer towers on that little peninsula and making sure that 365 couldn't come over the little bridge and take those out. And they were just sitting there hammering those 365 troops for 10 or 15 minutes. It was absolutely beautiful to see.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think there's a place in this game for archer towers. The city skin is nice. You know, the only issue I had with those archer towers yesterday is one of the players that was putting up archer towers was like a 200 million power player. I mean, dude, you're probably VIP 18. Get in that ball and do some damage. You know, but
5% though.
I mean, the thing is about the archer towers, like you placing them for about 10 seconds to build. Then you cannot move the fucking archer tower. And when you want to deconstruct it, you also have a couple of seconds where you need to deconstruct it first. And then, if you attack someone, you're getting counter-attack damage. So overall, it's like I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a
also
shit
when you
system,
use
but
them...
it's good though. Do you want it to be good? Then we'd have to max those commanders too. So
Also then,
it's like
Also
literally
then-
counteracting your point, bro. So I think it's good that it's not good. You know what I mean? Like we're, I don't know. I think having a niche role is fine. I think the way that the archer towers are is good. Just because you don't need to max them. Like that's why I'm able to max Liang, because those 2 commanders are useless. Heraclius wasn't a must max for open field players. So it's just like now I have 1.2k gold heads that's just sitting in for Liang. So I think it's good.
And I think we just saw a perfect example of the 93 execution, right? They all moved in together. They fought open field. They cleared open field. They burned the fort. Then they all fall back so that they can do it all over again when the next fort or the next flag heals. They don't stay here and they don't open field fight with 100,000 marches. You know, they do things so efficiently there. It's crazy. You know, if you want a lesson in how this game was quote unquote intended to be played, just watch 93 in some of these battles. You know, they don't care about their kill points. They don't care about their deads. They care about burning a structure, getting into Kingsland, and that's where you see them swarming flags and going absolutely crazy.
I would never agree on that shit archer towers. It's
But like, why do you want them to be good though, Beast? Like, what's like you're complaining about the commanders coming out too fast, but then the archer commanders were like they were absolutely like doggy doo doo, right? So then, what do you want the game to do?
right. Like, first of all, why did they even put that in the game? Was that really needed? Like,
Okay,
no
so
one.
say they didn't add it, and then they added Liang, and then they added like more commanders that you have to max. Is that like something you'd want?
No, I want that they slow down. The fucking I have like 50 commanders open to even unlock first. And then is the thing also, what about like over things what we're asking for? Which is first of all not getting answered. It's getting answered but never gets in the game then. Or it's just they're just putting something into the game but it's completely the opposite from what we have asked, and then we're just like, oh yeah, here's something new. Like with the armament. Like or not with the archer towers or with the heel cap. Like there are so many decisions what I like
I'm just saying they made useless commanders, and you're complaining that they're useless, and you're also complaining that they're releasing commanders too soon. So it's just like
no. I mean, what I complain about here, we're bringing something into the game, but it's completely garbage, which is not needed. But they're putting intention on that and bringing stuff out for that instead of that they're using that intention. For making, I don't know, fixing maybe the lags, fixing maybe the FPS problems, fixing maybe something, some bugs, fixing maybe the matchmaking from Osiris League, not Osiris League, Ark of Osiris, fixing maybe matchmaking from KVKs. For example, the last one, why did the 4 Imperial Kingdoms got separated into 2 each other? Like, why? You know, like, That are things where I'm like, why you don't focus on that what you have already, which is good, what people like to use, and bringing something into the game, but is completely not useful, completely garbage, not needed. No one have asked for that, but instead we asking for fixing the game, fixing the lags, fixing the matchmaking, fixing that, and that all not getting answered. We just getting ignored on that. The heal cap, the fucking crystals, the sieges that they are now that they want to be fighting unit type. That's all garbage. Like, why? Like, you have a good ground basic. No one in the fucking mobile game scene have something like Wars of Kings, except now for Call of Dragons, but that's from the kind of same company.
The same company.
Why you don't stand on your strong basic and make the game, like, why you don't just add what people want to have the people stay? Like, people left the game because of armaments and all that shit.
I'm 100%.
You know?
The arms are bullshit. The lag sucks. But it's one of those things where they're gonna add a command anyways. They have a cycle. Like, there's a time. They already established. Like, okay, at this amount of time, like, people literally can predict when commanders are coming out because they've been cycling these things forever. So it's just like, there's Osiris League already coming out. There's commander that's already expected to come out. Wouldn't you rather have those commanders be shit than have a max commander? You know what I mean? Like, that's, and plus, like, as Lambo said, there's a niche role for it. So it's not like it's exactly like the most. It's pretty much useless for most people. Let's be real. If you don't have your five max pairs or whatever, then for sure you don't want to be investing in those things. But I'd rather have it that at least they're continuing to add things than and like the issues that you're talking about are like issues that if they could have solved, I'm gonna guess that they would have already solved the lag. They would have already solved doing this and that. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
So hey, my turn.
After how many months of talking? You know,
I go Lambo.
My turn. Several comments from chat. Kat says, honestly, if they're adding commanders that are not useful, that just gives you extra time to catch up on whatever you're currently working on, which is a very fair point. I also want to say that if you're a player who is working from behind, and when I say working from behind, that means, still working on Chandragupta, still working on Saladin, still working on those older commanders, you might want to stop doing that. It's going to kill you short term in your KVKs, but save up those gold heads. Wait for those new next level commanders to come out, and then start maxing them as they come out. That has been the advice that I've given to several players in our kingdom, and they're like, well, then I'm going to be fighting in the open field with Minamoto and Mehmed. It's like, so you take a hit, 1 or 2 KVKs, you might not get the kills.
Too, and they're relevant. Like,
right.
Minamoto, Mehmed, like, they're still really good. And
but if you're in this game for the long haul, save your gold heads so that you're at a point in the game where you can max commanders as they come out. You're going to enjoy it so much more.
Kat said something. You have too much faith in Lilith. As long as people are pumping money in it, they are going to keep going. That's the issue. Also, they okay. Now the core drink, they have like kind of someone who could take away the players. But that's a problem. That's what I also said. I reduce, or like I don't spend anything right now in Wars of King because I don't support this decision what they're making. I will completely stop now, except only the 5-1 when the KVK starts with $5 to play. That's the only thing what I'm gonna buy. Nothing else anymore, because I will not support this type of decisions what they're making. And if people just accept that, that's the most issue. Like, like, why you don't why, if you don't like something, then share your voice. Like, what do we want to do? And if the people see, if people going up against Lilith and saying what we got a bunch of people who doing that already, but if more people would do it, I'm pretty sure there are tons of more people who just don't do that because they feel like, oh yeah, it will so nothing change, whatever. it doesn't matter if I gonna share no my opinion or not. That's like the first issue. Why you don't share your voice? Like it's a game, and the developers need to listen kinda to the community. Of course, not to everything what they're saying, but kinda, because also the people know what would be good for the game. First of all, if you don't share it, that's already a lose. And then if you're supporting that, it's in like saying, oh yeah, whatever, and then also spending money on these kinds of things, in my opinion, also lose. Like, why, for example, you don't like the armament system, but you're spending on it. Like, why are you supporting? Also, when it's a game, it's a competitive game, and you want to compete, but why? There are other ways how you can compete.
Because I like the armament system.
Huh?
Said because I like the armament system.
Yeah, okay, you like it, but not. You get what I mean, right? Like, it's I don't know.
I mean, yeah, you could keep your opinion, man. Like I agree, but like it's just like when I complain about things, I like to think about what would the solution be. Like, what would you do? I guess that's my question to you. What would you do? You have all these gripes with the game. You have like this and that. Like, what would you do right now? They already added the armaments. They can't remove the armaments. They already did this and that. What would you do now to fix the state of the game? Like,
The armament, for example, why you don't make it like equipment? Why does it need to be luck based? Why do we not have a reroll system where you get like chests where you can get, I don't know, blueprints and for getting type of armament, for example? Or like why you don't give the people to choose what they want to get in the armament system? Why is it so like the whole system based on luck, basically? The ground, it's based on luck. First of all, in a game where you do or where you achieve what you do for right. Like,
oh yeah,
do you want?
Yeah.
Like, for example, every kill point you do or you have on your account is achieved by yourself, unless you have a pilot. Every piece of equipment is done by yourself. You saw it, you have clicked on the button, and you saw how it got crafted, right? And the armament is like, for example, just based on luck. So maybe first of all we move that and make kind of like a blueprint system what we have in the normal equipment. I don't mind that we have armaments. I think the formation system and that you have like kind of a Nuki is totally fine. What I just complain about the armament system is just the luck base in a game where you do everything by your own.
Yeah.
Like why?
Okay.
You know what? For example, we have already a good system which is good working with the equipment. So why do you need to bring something else which is completely luck based where you just force more people to spend more money? Like you know, like okay, people falling for it, it's their fault. But so why you need to bring something new in when you just have a good basic
Okay. Yeah.
So
you know?
this is why we're here. Everyone who's watching the stream, we have different people from different walks of life, different spending levels, different power levels, different kingdom levels, and we all have different opinions. Honestly, guys, I think we beat this topic to a dead horse right now, and I would like to move on to the next item, which is a positive change, in my opinion, that I feel like they're making to the game, and that is the Osiris matchmaking optimization. I'm going to read it from the email that was sent. The kill points of an alliance registered members will be included when calculating its overall ranking. Optimize the way overall ranking is calculated to encourage more balanced matchmaking. Alliances will only be matched with alliances of a similar kingdom age. So, I mean, there are a lot of matches that we steamroll over people because they're using Charles and YSG and Garrison, right? So the kingdom age is fantastic. There are a lot of matches where, we have more VIP 18s than they do. So we steamroll them over the middle. I'd like to think it's because of my strategy, but let's be real. 1029 isn't playing the 60 GTs and the 1Vs, the top tier teams, but I mean, we did play UCS last week and handled them. But either way, I think these changes are good. I think it's going to balance the matchmaking of Ark of Osiris more. What do you guys think, Plato?
Yeah, I'm actually playing it for the first time this weekend, so pretty excited to see then like the fog thing and all that stuff. But in terms of the actual Ark of Osiris changes, I think it's gonna be pretty interesting because alliances only match with alliances of similar kingdom age. I feel like that'll promote migrating back. Well, it'll help because the kingdom age really doesn't matter. It's more so the age of the players. The younger the kingdom, obviously, the average age is going to be younger. But those people that migrate back, they're going to kind of have an advantage in a way. But I feel like that's always been the case. Overall, it's a positive change, and yeah, I think it's a positive change. But then also for the kill points, it's gonna be really, really interesting because, like, say you're a kingdom that's really just like I don't know, an Osiris League kingdom or whatever. I guess it really doesn't affect Osiris League, but like say like you want to get gold heads or whatever. Like, are you getting You know what I mean? You're getting penalized by fighting harder opponents because you fight more. Is that like you know what I mean, right? There could be some spin to that where it's like it's good for matchmaking, but at the same time, like say for example, like I got 1.7 bill KP in a KVK. If I didn't get that 1.7 bill, would we get an easier matchmaking for Osiris League? Or not Osiris League, Ark of Osiris? Am I making it harder for us to get gold heads? So it's a bit of a slippery slope, but I like the idea of it. Is my opinion.
They're trying to work on it. They're
Yeah.
trying to make efforts to give us better matchmaking. Beast?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I agree with both of you. It's a good change or good update on that. It's now just a question, like, what does they say with similar kingdom age? Like, is it 500 days? Is it 1,000 days? Like, what is the range in that kingdom ages? And also when it's a other matchmaking, what is it called? Like, what's the word for that?
Criteria.
Criterias. Is it like still there, like also based on the Alliance power, plus they're adding now also the Kingdom Age to there, or is it only the Kingdom Age? We will see, but I think overall, it's for now, it's a good change, and I would like to see how that gonna work out with that change in the matchmaking. And if it's working good, and you have more AOO matches where you feel like, oh, it's a opponent on my level, then I think it's a win for sure. But yeah, we will see.
Yeah, I mean, as with all Lilith changes, right? There's kind of a hesitancy and a wait and see mentality that many people have because of how things have been implemented in the past.
Got trust issues.
Yep, I think the good news, though, like I said, is that they're trying to make a change. They understand that there is an issue there with the matchmaking, not just League or not just Ark of Osiris, but I think there are sometimes issues with KVK matchmaking as well. They need to factor kill points into KVK matchmaking. Our last KVK, they put the highest kill point C kingdom and the highest kill point D kingdom in the same starting zone. And we did not get any fights at all because nobody would fight us. So they kind of need to take a look at how they're doing that as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Last but not least, Z Huge. Zerg, whatever people are calling him these days. I can't pronounce the damn name.
I'm trying to get Liang because Liang's way easier to
Liang?
pronounce.
Okay.
But everyone keeps saying Zuj.
Zuj? Z Huge.
Yeah.
I like Z Huge because he is fucking huge, man. Everybody is using him in these KVKs. The AoE is just as big as YSG's. What I've already expertised him. Did you guys?
I have him 10 out of 10. I didn't unlock him yet.
Yeah, I didn't unlock him either, but I max spun the. I not max spin for me is 100, but I spun it to 100. I got really lucky with the wheel actually. Oh, I did unlock him actually. I'm at 5200, I think. No, 5211 currently. I think I got 93 heads and 101 spins because I got 5 8 spots, which was like the most I ever gotten in a wheel, I think. Super excited. I mean, I made a whole video about why Liang's broken. So it should be super like plug and play. Put my Boudica with Liang because I only have one archer pair. And yeah, it'll destroy. You know, this commander is just so good. And I think Omniarch made a video about the power creep in Rise of Kingdoms, and one of the points that he said was, if you see like all of the, because you know like after Nevsky, that's kind of like the new tier of commanders or whatever. And then I think he was talking about how like this Liang is going to be the next tier because of specifically if you look at the commander, there's like a golden shine on Nevsky, Sepia, whatever. On Liang, it's like a platinum shine. So that's like different, and it's the first commander to have that platinum shine or whatever. So I'm curious to see what the next commander is going to be, and if it's going to be like, do you even say more gold heads for the next cat commander? Like it's going to be, imagine it's going to be crazy.
So you're pairing him with Boudica. Beast, who do you plan to use him with?
Probably with Washi, if I have him. I mean, he's like so bad. It's like crazy what he's doing. Also, we need to shout out to the animation of the active skill here. I think that's that looks pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that's super cool.
But yeah, he is definitely a must-have in the future of the KVKs now. I just want to say something. People have said that with him coming out, you don't need to invest anymore in YC. I think you should not say it like this because you can definitely pair Zhu Liang with YC in my opinion. You can also do 2 archer matches now with I don't know, Boudica YC and Zhu Liang with someone else. I think it's not right to say don't invest anymore in YG because we need to say that you don't have Zhu Liang until Xenor conquers, right? So KVK 1, 2, and 3, you have still YG. And in all that situations, you can use them in a 1-pair march and destroy. You can use Richard YG in season 1. In KVK 2 and 3, you can do, I don't know, Alex YG. Wait, do you even have Alex in KVK 2? I have no idea. But you something like that, you know?
You do, yeah.
So I think it's I don't know. I would never, I would not agree on the point right now to say don't invest anymore in YG, because YG is probably still the most valuable commander in the game from where you can use it. You can use it in the garrison, you can use him in the rallies, you can use him on the field, you can use him in Sunset Canyon, you can use him everywhere, basically. Still, you know, and that basically from literally the beginning of the game. And also we need to say why she is only available in KVK 1 in the real, and everything after once you appear to KVK 2, you will never play again KVK 1. So you lose like with real. So I think it's still worth also the amount of money or gems what you would spend on the real to do it. And I mean, like imagine Zhu Liang with YG in the open field, like how much damage you do, right? So he's definitely Zhu Liang is definitely now, with what we have on the field also and with the testing, one of the best commanders and must priority. And I would still say invest in YG, get him expertise because he is still like Washi, in my opinion, is still the best value in the game as a commander.
Yeah, and I expertise them already. I am using Boudica YSG, Nibu, Zing. See, I'm mentally blocked there. And then Artie Tommy. I mean, I know Boudica Artie is a fantastic march, and I used that until the new commander came out. But Tommy behind Artie, the self-silence Artie does just gives Tommy so much more time to stack that poison. And that poison is huge in murder ball fights when I'm hitting people with 5 marches, 6 marches, 7 marches.
Lambo, I'm telling you guys, you should try Orleans KVK because the Tommy, the Tommy like the Tommy, what do you call it? I don't. What are these skills called? Auxiliary skill. The Tommy stacks don't go away. Like it's crazy. Um, it was crazy to see like the Tommy stacks, just infinite Tommy stacks, like on everything.
So yeah, archers are going to be the meta at least until the new cavalry come out, right?
By the way, if you want to jump into KVK for the rest of the podcast, 1254 getting huge pushback right now, like really huge.
Yeah.
Yep, I think that was honestly all the topics we had to cover. Apocalypse just said a message, said he's really tired from fighting. He wanted to apologize to the entire stream for not being able to make it. I used Gilga Tommy Lordy before the new commander. I'm now putting Tommy behind Artie, just because of that self-silence and the sustainability of the stacking of her poison.
Yeah, especially with the skill damage Liang does, bruh.
Yep.
Like that's crazy stacked.
And I have him separate from YSG for the simple fact that I want to separate those 2 big time AoE commanders.
Yeah.
Right. I want 2 AoE marches because they're gonna get targeted exactly. And if one of them dies, both of them aren't off the field if they're in the same march. I mean, that's my philosophy. We're not in KVK, so I'll see how it works when we go into KVK. As far as Orleans, I think the map is not good for smaller kingdoms. There's the zones where you can fight are absolutely immense.
Huge. That's true. Yeah.
You know, so I mean, we'll see.
Good allies in your camps, and that's sometimes hard to come by. But yeah, that's like one of the biggest questions I always get on stream with Liang is like, could I pair him with Boudica? The answer is you could pair Liang with any archer commander, but it's more so like the video that I made is they both have the same strengths and they also have the same weaknesses. So you're gonna be super glass cannon, you're gonna not have movement speed, but if you can micro that march, I think it's gonna do so much damage. But you have to like. It's literally like you're playing 2 games where you have your murder, you have your 4 marches, and then you have your Liang YSG that you literally have to babysit. But yeah.
Yeah, like you said, it's gonna be glass or destroying. And if you have lags on an FBF drops because you play on phone or iPad or something,
and then you come back, yeah, for real.
Never do that pair. I would only suggest to do that pair if you play on a PC first of all, and then also on a gaming PC where you have no lags or no FPF drops with a simply graphics. That should be the only situation meant for you to play Such Liang and Washi.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have FPS drops, you cannot move your march. He's running into the backline. Oops, 100k level 1 the troops. GG.
I've seen Liang get swarmed down, even just Liang primary with whoever gets swarmed down because Liang's just, it's crazy stack. So I can't imagine Liang YSG is going to be insta target.
I don't know. I will not have an expertise, but once I have an expertise, I'm gonna try. It's actually we should call him ZL. ZL and Washi and see how that goes.
So you guys can see there's a ton of fighting going on in this KVK.
Yeah.
That said, I think we've made it through all of our topics. Does anyone in chat have any questions for the guys?
I want to come back to a point what Kat said earlier when we was having the discussion. He said
she.
Or she, sorry. Didn't know. Sorry, my bad. Did she said, or where's the message? When we was talking about when I was complaining about all that stuff and said stop spending when if you don't like these types. She said then that's exactly my answer to the question what I said. Just stop playing then. The thing about that, like if you like the game and you don't want to stop playing it because you like the fighting system and all that stuff, obviously you're not gonna stop. And then it's even more important, in my opinion, if you raise your voice and say your opinion about the different stuff. So the developers can see, okay, what should we work on, what should we not work on. And I think that's very important, right? Like if you don't feel you enjoy that game or something, yeah, then just stop playing the game. But if you feel the game and you want to support it, and support not only means by spending money or something or making advertisers for it, support means also to give your opinion to the devs so they can work on stuff. That's probably the best support except for money for the developers. And so, when I always do that, probably mostly in the podcast, I don't know why, and complain so hard about the game and saying what is wrong, and what they should work on, I just don't mean it in a mean way. I just say it like this because I love the game, I love the community, and I just don't want to see that Wiser Kingdoms goes under because of just some stupid devs updates what they have made for the game, and that's why I always gonna say what I don't like, what I like, so devs can see. I mean, for what do we have a suggestion channel on the Discord server, right? There was sometimes a suggestion with thousands of likes, with thousands of agreement on that. With 10,000, 20,000, and then the devs saw that, and then they have removed that. For example, I don't know if you remember back when they have hide the debt in the Alliance in the profile infos. There was then like a huge complaining about that, and people was raising their voice, and they was like, why you hiding that? And there was so many suggestions on the official Discord server, and you saw then what happened. They have removed it. That's what I mean. That's why
they removed the suggestions channel, or what?
No. They was having an update where they have said we're gonna hide now the deaths in the profile.
Oh yeah.
So no one can see it. And then there was a huge complaining about that, and the suggestion channel was full with that. Why they're removing, why they're bringing that, and like 1 or 2 days later, that was out of the game, and that's what I mean with raise your voice, share your opinions. Also, when it's only one agreement, but share your opinion. That's always it should be the best for the devs, because feedback means you play the game actively to see what the game what they have in the game, and you see, okay, wait, there's a bug, I'm gonna report that. Oh, there is something what I don't like, I better report it. Oh, I have an idea, I report that. Feedback is like the best gift for the developers for the game, in my opinion, and that's why if you have something to share, you should not say, oh, whatever, it's just my opinion, it's just like one guy, one girl saying that, whatever, I will not share. Like, if you do that, you probably damage more of the game than not spending money. That's what I mean. That's why I always share my voice. That's why I always get like that emotional on the podcast, because I see
it comes from passion. Like it's because you care, right? Like it's because you want it to go well, for sure. I get that.
Yeah.
And the thing that I think it's good, but one thing that, like, for example, you're talking about specifically for the commanders coming out, whatever, and then you're saying, but at the same time you're saying these are used. I think one thing that's really helpful and that the suggestion channel does is when there's a complaint, come also with a solution, like a potential solution. Like, what would you do to commanders, for example, or what would you do to siege towers, for example, to like, or like what would you do with the OL skin? You know what I mean? So it's at least there's like it's constructive instead of it being more so coming from a place of like I think it being constructive is the most important thing compared to it just being a place to vent. You know what I mean? So
So
'cause-
the ultimate reward for getting to Osiris League is getting a skin, right?
yeah.
To getting to the top tiers.
Mm-hmm.
What would make it even more, what would put pressure on teams to get there even more, if you gave them the choice of what skin they could pick. Infantry, archers, siege. If you gave them a choice, man, they would be fighting tooth and nail. We would probably not have any no-shows then.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, that'd be interesting for sure.
You know,
maybe, I
do-
don't know, since
do-
the South League is like once in a year, they could maybe add also the city skins like from this. Okay, maybe not from the knee, but you know, like making some exclusive skins from the past, which was from the which was only available for the early game players. And you know, like making something like that and bringing that into South League and making, like you said, and making giving them a choice. I think that could pump up the South League thing, and it would probably also being more. You would see more adverters for that, more streams for that, because the people will go more crazy for that.
right. I think a lot of teams do Osiris League now, so they get matches every single week and get those 5 or 10 gold heads every week. But if you put a city skin in there that gave players a choice between infantry, archers, siege, cavalry stats, or even training, healing, healing costs, things like that, that would make it much more interesting, and something would actually be on the line, because a lot of teams know, the 60 GT, it's pretty well chiseled in stone. I mean, you still got to play the match, but the 60 GTs, the 2489s, the 1Vs, the JSTs are going to be the ones up there taking the skins in the grand finals and stuff like that. But if you gave players a choice,
No, sorry. I remember like a couple of weeks ago, you got slapped by 89 CG. Like it was Baba in one off lane, and then Fun the other one. We're like, all right, well, what are we supposed to do?
so yeah, Cat says, go ahead.
Yeah, she said, raise your voice, sure, but be sure with how many things you complain about, or else no one is going to listen if you just complain about everything they do. Of course, that's 100% true. Also, when it's looking like I only complain, I always try to give like ideas, or like I always say what is good in the game, what I enjoy about the game, and it's not just complaining. But it's important to say for sure your opinion. Also, when there's more bad opinions, I would say so, or more complaining. But it should be like, okay. So first of all, I guess we all can agree on that complaining bad is better than saying nothing. And then even better. Hold on. And then even better would it be if you find halfway between, okay, what or how do I say the things what I think it's bad in the game, and then what about what is good in the game, and do I have ideas? That should be the best way to give feedback. But if you don't have ideas to something what is in your opinion bad in the game, I think that's totally fine, unless you say it in a way which is meaningful and not respectable. But if you have something what you think it's bad and you share it in a way, for example in the suggestion channel, where you try to explain it in a respectful way to the devs, or respectful on streams or videos or whatever where you do it, I think that's better definitely than saying nothing.
So
I mean, wait, sorry, you could go on though.
I was gonna say, so I have 3 kids, so I have experience in people, I guess for lack of a better term, complaining about things, and I'll be the first one to say, I do a lot of bitching about this game, right? And there's some bitching that I do that is not in a very constructive manner. That would tend to put developers and the people you're bitching about on the defensive rather than letting them absorb, rather than them being open to new ideas and open to new suggestions. So, and I'm an old dog. It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, but a wise man once told me, if you have a problem, go look in a mirror. 9 times out of 10, that problem is staring you back in the face. And you need to ask yourself, what could I have done differently to resolve this situation? Now, that's easy to say in real life. In a game where we have absolutely no control other than a very small voice on a Discord post or in feedback to the developers, it's much harder to do, right? But I think at the same time, if we're too negative, and my eyes were kind of open the last podcast when you guys told me I was being too negative. If we're too negative, the developers are just going to say, fuck it, these guys are stupid. We're not going to watch this, or they're going to get on the defensive and they're going to do things regardless of what people say. So I think we all, and this is not directed at you, Beast, I'm including myself in this statement. We all need to be more constructive with how we approach things and how we present things to potential viewers, to potential developers. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, sure.
All right, I guess I'll add this piece. I guess my because everything that I do, or like everything, like I try to think about like why. So whenever there's like a complaint, or whenever there's like of course you have the right to complain and you should share an opinion and stuff, but what's the outcome? What's the what's the purpose behind it? And then from there, more so, like I find myself like, it's like in a relationship, if you just keep complaining without without actually making trying to seek out a solution and trying to work out the problem, then it's just going to be a complaint. But then I feel like it's the most important thing is to be in I guess be empathetic in the terms of where in their situation, what would you do, and kind of give that perspective. Okay, if I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this, and this is potential changes, and then I think that that's kind of where I would go with complaints, because I literally made videos about armaments. I've complained about this and that, but it's more so if you complain without reason, without purpose, then it becomes just white noise compared to if you complain and then it goes towards an outcome. I feel like it's more justified in a way, but I don't know. It's just my opinion.
All right. So I think we're gonna wrap it up for this week. Plato, are we doing it on your channel in 2 weeks?
Let me see. What's 2 weeks from now?
That would be the
10th.
10th of June. Yeah. Okay, cool.
That should be good for the 10th. Yeah.
So everyone look for us again on the 10th of June on Plato's channel. Same 3 folks. Hopefully Apple KVK has we all want to see fighting there, so I don't want to wish it to die down, but hopefully he'll be able to find an hour and a half to join us for the podcast in 2 weeks. And if you haven't done so yet, I have got a new channel for Redline posted at the top, the All Bad Show. Him and a buddy from college, one of his fraternity brothers, they get on every week, every other week, and they just shoot the shit about life in general. At the very least, go and hit subscribe. Show Redline some love. He has shown all 3 of us some love, rating us on our Rise of Kingdom streams from time to time. So, I'd like to, karma, right? So go show him some love and just hit subscribe.
Yes, sir.
Let's rate him.
It would not let me put his channel as a rate in there.
He didn't put it.
I tried.
Oh.
But I'll put the link in here if he is still streaming. Yeah, head over there and Lambo raid, right?
Oh,
But thank you all for tuning in. I hope everyone has a great rest of their weekend, and we will catch you next time.
see ya.
See ya, guys.